US President Donald Trump's sharp, targeted attacks on three of the world's major emerging economies are now having an unintended positive consequence as they have led the countries to come closer. Leaders of India, Brazil and South Africa met in Johannesburg on the sidelines of the G20 Summit on Sunday, giving renewed importance to the long-dormant IBSA Forum, a trilateral grouping of democracies from the global south. It's the first time in more than a decade that the leaders themselves have convened under IBSA, even though their foreign ministers have kept the platform active. Opening the meeting, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said the grouping stands for diversity as a source of strength and stressed the need for the three countries to act as co-architects of a more representative and responsive global system. Listen in.
As this is the first G20 Leaders Summit to be held in Africa, it carries the hopes and must reflect the aspirations of the people of this continent and of the world. We should not allow anything to diminish the value, the stature, and the impact of the first African G20 presidency. This G20 Leaders Summit has a responsibility not to allow the integrity and the credibility of the G20 to be weakened. In fact, from this summit, we should have a sense that the G20 has been strengthened.
Now, this alliance, IBSA, that stands for India, Brazil, South Africa, the trilateral alliance comes against the backdrop of escalating tensions with Washington. Remember, President Trump had targeted India, Brazil and South Africa with steep tariffs. India has been hit with a 50% tariff hike, a move tied to its ongoing ties with Russia, while Trump has also provoked New Delhi with repeated claims of mediating a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Move to South Africa. Trump has skipped the G20 summit entirely and stoked outrage with unfounded allegations of a genocide against white farmers. Meanwhile, in Brazil, Trump slapped high tariffs on imports in an attempt to pressure the country to drop a case against his ally, former President Jair Bolsonaro, who faces accusations of plotting a coup. But Brazilian President Lula da Silva pushed back strongly, prompting Trump to roll back some of those tariff measures, a rare diplomatic win for Lula da Silva. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for a global compact to prevent the misuse of artificial intelligence, urging world leaders to ensure that critical technologies remain human-centric rather than finance-centric. Speaking at the third session of the G20 Summit in Johannesburg, Prime Minister Modi said technology should be global, open source and accessible, not locked behind exclusive national models. He highlighted how India has built this approach into its own tech ecosystem, from space applications to AI and digital payments, where India is now a global leader. Prime Minister Modi further said AI must be used only for global good and warned against threats like deepfakes, crime and terror. He proposed a global framework built on human oversight, safety by design, transparency and strict safeguards to stop its misuse. And staying with other global stories where India is taking charge, India and Israel are moving closer to finalizing their long-pending free trade agreement, with both sides now considering a two-phase rollout to deliver easy benefits to businesses in both the countries. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal confirmed the plan after a three-day visit to Israel, which he described as very successful, noting strong enthusiasm from Israeli industry leaders and government officials to deepen economic ties with India. Remember, on Thursday, the two nations signed the terms of reference to formally begin FTA negotiations. The framework includes easing market access for goods by reducing tariff as well as non-tariff barriers, simplifying customs procedures, boosting cooperation in innovation and technology transfer, and promoting smoother trade in services. Piyush Goyal also held meetings with several technology companies and visited the Paris Center for Peace and Innovation, where he highlighted Israel's ability to turn every crisis into an opportunity for progress. He had detailed discussions with Israeli Minister of Economy and Industry Nir Barkat on the next steps to strengthen bilateral ties. Nir Barkat has agreed to visit India soon with a large business delegation. Now, if finalized, the free trade agreement is expected to majorly expand trade, investment and tech collaboration between India and Israel, with the phased implementation helping both sides see early gains. Listen in to Piyush Goyal.
एक बहुत ही सफल 3 दिवसीय इजराइल का दौरा रहा। बड़े पैमाने पे यहाँ के उद्योग जगत में, यहाँ के सरकार में उत्साह है भारत के साथ संबंध और मजबूत बनाने का, जिसके रहते हमने टर्म्स ऑफ रेफरेंस भी फाइनलाइज करके साइन कर दिए, जिसके आधार पर अब फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट की बातचीत शुरू हो जाएगी। कई सारे टेक्नोलॉजी की कंपनियों के साथ भी मेरी चर्चा हुई अलग से। पेरिस सेंटर ऑफ पीस एंड इनोवेशन में हमने देखा कैसे हर आपदा को इजराइल ने चुनौती समझकर उसमें से लाभ निकालने का काम किया, उसको अवसर बनाया और उसमें से चाहे वो सुरक्षा का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे स्वास्थ्य का क्षेत्र हो, चाहे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स टेक्नोलॉजी का क्षेत्र हो, अलग अलग क्षेत्रों के बहुत लाजवाब नवाचार इनोवेशन पर सफलता प्राप्त की है।
Now, staying with this story, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal also met Israeli President Isaac Herzog on Sunday and discussed the full spectrum of bilateral cooperation from trade and investment to science, technology and innovation. Goyal shared positive outcomes from the Business Forum and CEOs Forum and highlighted the first big step towards launching free trade agreement negotiations. He also met Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, updating him on talks with Economy Minister Nir Barkat and the progress made by the 60-member Indian business delegation. Piyush Goyal underlined that the newly signed terms of reference will accelerate trade, investment and tech collaboration while combining Israel's high-tech strengths with India's scale and talent to drive the partnership forward.